Police in Utah say this 15-year-old girl is missing and endangered. She hasn't been seen since April on this surveillance video. Now, two men who are from states away are facing charges of sexual exploitation of a minor, and one of them is still at large. What we know about them and the sick and twisted things they allegedly said to this young girl before she vanished. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Right now, a search is on in multiple states for a teenage girl who went missing more than a month ago. And right now, authorities say two men have been charged with sex crimes in connection to her disappearance. This is 15-year-old Alisa Petrov. She lives near Salt Lake City, Utah. She's been missing since April 21st. Her mom dropped her off at school that day in American Fork, Utah, which is south of Salt Lake City, and she hasn't been seen by her parents since. We have reviewed court documents charging two men with sex crimes in connection to her disappearance. Both of them are in their 30s. And much of what they allegedly told this girl online, it is too graphic and too disturbing to say on the air. I'll get more into that in just a moment, but this here is one of the last known images of Petrov before she went missing. It's from a convenience store. This was put out by the South Jordan, Utah Police Department. Police say from that store, she was given a ride by an unknown person to a nearby train station, and she took a train to Provo, Utah. That's roughly 20 minutes south. Police have surveillance of her on foot in Provo, but then she disappears. She was last seen wearing baggy jeans, a Harvard University t-shirt, a black hoodie, and wearing a dark school backpack. She is 5 foot 3 inches tall. Alisa's parents have been very vocal in trying to find their daughter, but also making sure the public understands this is not just a case of a young girl running away from home. Here's the website they have launched with pictures of Alisa, with flyers and information on where people can go if they have tips. They're also offering a $20,000 reward. Police say after Alisa went missing, they found an iPad in her room that revealed that she was allegedly speaking with older men online. Police found several conversations on the iPad through a hidden Instagram account, and those conversations were with a man identified as Matt. Police say Matt was later identified as 35-year-old Matthew Menard, who lives in Miami. His full name, Matthew Nicholas Menard. According to the probable cause affidavit we read through, Menard knew Alisa was 15, and at one point police say that Menard asked Petrov, quote, "Are you secretly 15? And Petrov replies, WTF, of course yeppers, I'm actually in middle school. Police say after it was established that Petrov was 15, Menard said, quote, but FR though, when we meet, we gonna be expletive all night." And that is just some of the sexually explicit things this 35-year-old man allegedly said to this 15-year-old girl online. Court documents show that Menard also allegedly told the girl to send nude pictures of herself, with Menard referring to himself as, quote, daddy. Police say for several months, Menard allegedly solicited sex, sodomy, and child sex abuse material from the 15-year-old girl. He allegedly went into detail about sexually abusing the teen. The lines police say that he sent, according to court records, they're some of the sickest and most twisted I have seen someone send someone in a story like this in covering these stories. Now, Menard then allegedly creates a plan to have Alisa leave her family and leave Utah to go meet him in person. He said in late May, he would be traveling to Las Vegas for work. He also allegedly talked about having sex with the girl in Las Vegas. He then said they would go to Los Angeles for several days and then would return to his home city of Miami, Florida. Police also say that Menard told Alisa about plans to have her avoid detection when they were together, allegedly telling her they could tell others that the 15-year-old was actually his daughter. At the time of this recording, it is unclear where Alisa is, and it is also unclear where Menard is, though he has been charged with sex crimes in Utah in connection to this young girl's disappearance. We're also still working to get a picture of Matthew Menard confirmed. Now, Menard's not the only person who has been charged in connection with Alisa's disappearance. We do have a picture of this man, William Taylor Glines. He is 37 years old and he lives in Texas City, Texas. That's near Galveston on Texas's Gulf Coast. Police found that Alisa was allegedly communicating with Glines online as well. He's currently in custody facing charges of possession of child pornography and online solicitation of a minor in Texas. Police say they learned that Alisa was allegedly communicating with Glines after she went missing. According to KSL TV in Utah, Glines also allegedly knew Alisa's age, and their conversations were sexual in nature. He also allegedly demanded that she continue actions that she told him were hurting her mental health, according to the television station. Court records show that police say that Alisa used a stranger's phone to send Glines a message saying that she was safe and for him not to respond. And that was on May 8th. So she sent that several weeks after she went missing in Utah. It also says that she sent it from a bus stop in Utah, again, several weeks after she went missing, last seen in Provo. Glines was arrested by Texas City Police, and this is the picture that the Texas City Police Department put on their Facebook announcing his arrest. Texas court records show that Glines is charged with online solicitation of a minor and possession of child pornography. In Utah, Glines has been charged with 2 counts of aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, 2 counts of attempted aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, a count of enticement of a minor, and 3 counts of criminal solicitation. Glines is being held on no bond. Now, as for Menard, the man who at the time of this recording is still missing, he is facing 6 charges in Utah, including aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, enticement of a minor, criminal solicitation, and criminal solicitation in the disappearance of Alisa Petrov. A no bail warrant has been issued for him for when he is taken into custody. Joining us now to break this case down is missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher. It's always great to have you on these types of cases. This is one where there's a lot of questions, and now we have 3 people between the 2 suspects and then this missing 15-year-old girl. What stands out to you as far as what may be going on with this story?
Well, one thing that stands out is she's been gone quite a while now, and they have now released the suspect information. They've got one in custody. It appears like they were 2 separate instances. I don't think the 2 guys are tied together, but it appears that she probably met up with this Matthew Menard, who's been charged in Utah now, and I guess the hunt is on.
Yeah, because she leaves Provo, Utah. That was the last time that she was seen.
Right.
In your experience, because I always find it interesting how, you can have someone on surveillance video and then they're gone. How is it that someone can just slip through the cracks like that, where it seemed like they were able to track her from this gas station that was in American Fork to the train station, Provo, and then she vanishes?
Yeah, and I imagine so. Since she's a minor, and since they do believe the intention was to stay cross lines, this is one that the FBI is going to be involved in, and I would think that they probably do have more surveillance because we know that she went through the rail system and at her exit point, entrance and exit point, and even on the train, there should be surveillance. And then, of course, if she did ultimately take transportation to Las Vegas, which I think was the plan, then you're talking about, she's going to the city with the most surveillance cameras in the world. So they probably have more. And although they've put the suspect information out there, I don't think they're completely in the dark, as to where, they could be, or they probably have a good indication of areas of interest. Listen, he's running out of options. I think he's aware of this. If it's a person that I think that I've identified, they've made all their social media private, so they're probably aware this is going on and they're actively hiding. However, we leave a digital trail everywhere we go now. So unless he had a ton of cash with him, he's not going to be able to use credit cards. He's not going to be able to use identification for anything. They have a real problem, and he really should give himself up, because this is a case where looks like, he's a guy that's got a good job and everything. He's educated. He should be smart enough to turn himself in on this and end this, because this is not going to end well for him.
Right, because I know we were talking before we were recording this that we think we kind of have an idea of who this person is, but just not enough yet to kind of name them and show their picture up on the
Mhm.
screen. I did search Matthew Menard in Miami-Dade County court records. He doesn't come up. He's not in custody
Right,
in Vegas, Los Angeles, or Florida, which were kind of the three
right.
places that he was talking about. Typically, when you're looking for someone, and in this case, a 15-year-old girl, what's the strategy to announce charges against this person, knowing that, I mean, I would worry that this is a guy who might be coming to grips with the fact that life is about to be much different once he's brought into custody. And then that raises the concern for the safety of the girl. Um, but here's Utah
Mhm.
authorities kind of coming forward and saying this is a person he's going to be charged with these offenses.
So it might be exactly, what you brought up. Like, there's not, I think if it's the person that we were talking about, there's an old charge, small charge for possession of marijuana and a speeding ticket. So they might have profiled him and just said, we don't think that he is a risk to really harm her if, he knows that we know. And they probably assumed, listen, if it's the right person, he's an IT guy, and he knows. They did disclose in the probable cause affidavit that he was advising her on how to avoid being detected, digitally, as she made her way to Las Vegas, and he would be there later in May on a work trip. So, you know, they probably figured, listen, he knows that we've got warrants and open up these devices, and he, know who he is, and they probably figured that he just wasn't, that risk that he would, if he was made, he would harm her in that way, and it probably to put pressure on him, to be honest, just to be like, do the smart thing here.
Right. And I know, and I mean, it's your line of work that, finding people can be a lot more difficult than the public can understand. But then
Mm.
also um, how is a 15-year-old able to avoid everybody and just kind of vanish and get states away? And she might be very good at convincing people because she took a ride with someone in a car to the train station that they didn't know, that she may have traded, a phone for cash, according to the mom. So she seems actually pretty smart, pretty convincing around people. But just, are you surprised that she would actually be able on her own? Because this wasn't a case like in other ones we've had where unfortunately these conversations happen online and then someone comes and picks that person up and they drive away. It seems that she left on her own and just kind of vanished.
Yeah, and again, let's be clear. She was lured. I mean, uh, and I know you're not suggesting otherwise, but I mean, this is a
Right, right.
15-year-old and impressionable, and here's two men in their mid to late 30s. This is, we have an age of 18 for a reason, because this is a young adult who's still developing and impressionable, and he lured her, and the people that prey on these type of young women and men, for that matter, it's just inexcusable. And but it doesn't surprise me necessarily that it didn't raise too many red flags. It just seems like in the siding out, like, you have minors taking Ubers and Lyfts and whatnot. And I had a case not too long ago of a 15-year-old that got off a plane in Denver, was lured off a plane in Denver while she was Snapchatting somebody at the airport, and she did not have to be accompanied on the plane, which shocked us. And then even when she went missing, it didn't really get taken that seriously. It just seems like it's becoming too commonplace in this country. I mean, this
Right.
should be national news.
Right, and it's something that I know for the last week it's been a big deal in Utah, and as
Mhm.
far as her being able to disappear, being smart, and all that, just the fact on her own that she was able to travel to wherever she was being lured to,
Right.
and
Hmm.
I think about how police they reportedly found a hidden Instagram account on her iPad, and that's where
Hmm.
she was having these conversations. How are teens? I say this as a parent myself, and one day I'll have to deal with this. I mean, the ability to hide these
Yeah,
conversations that we see in so many of these cases where they're talking with predators online. They may not know that these are bad people they're talking to, but
right.
how easy is it to create an account where you can hide these types of conversations, even when your parents might be thinking that they know what you're talking about on your iPad?
It's shockingly easy. I deal with so many of these cases with minors and them being lured. I mean, it's the majority of my business, and these Instagram accounts in particular. What they do is they set up an Instagram account. They'll have no pictures, no anything. It's solely for the purpose of messaging, and it's usually just a five digit set of numbers and letters that has some meaning to them. And so you would never ever find it in a search looking for the person. They don't have a profile picture. They're only meant for DMing, and then they have these codes between them, that they'll put in the profile, kind of like, especially if they're like connected to somebody or dating somebody, and it's very very hard because they're privated, and they're only for the sake of messaging. And what's incredible is to think that Meta literally has the key to crack all these cases. I mean, majority
Yeah.
of these cases. I mean, it seems like they would really have teams in there dedicated to helping law enforcement instead of making it such a process with, warrants and subpoenas and whatnot. I mean, this goes on. There are thousands and thousands of kids out there that we could find right now if we could get access to those meta accounts that we can't.
Yeah, and it was surprising. I think whenever I see like Instagram come up, and it does in this case, because we're not talking about one of those apps that are typically as controversial, the Telegrams of the world, or one of those video game
Mhm.
platforms people go through. This was Instagram that she was on, and she was able to get in touch also allegedly with William Taylor Glines. He's 37, Texas City, Texas. Um, and it's as much as it is disturbing Matthew Menard and what he's accused of, William Taylor
Yeah.
Glines, it seems like, I mean, he has a record,
Yep.
and some violent crimes like assault, and
Yes.
then very twisted stuff that he was apparently saying to Alisa Petrov. What stands out to you with
Yep.
his profile? And he is now in custody.
Yeah, so he's in custody, and they did get a warrant for his phone, and they've, charged him with, possession of that material. So we know he had it on there. We learned from that probable cause affidavit that she actually borrowed somebody's phone at a train station and contacted him. So these are two men. I don't believe that they're connected at all. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but they're making some sort of promises to her, or they've reeled her in somehow, and to where, I mean, to go borrow a phone to reach out to this guy, they've got her reeled in somehow, and that's sick. These are guys who have dedicated their lives to figuring out ways of manipulating minors this into these things, and which this will listen, this is something that's going to affect this young lady for the rest of her
Yeah.
life, and it's just I hope that once it's proven, and once they're caught and it's proven, I really hope that they get serious sentences, because people like this, I mean, this is just happening way too often.
It is, and these are the monsters. I mean, when you think about, all the PSAs that are out there about, like, make sure you know who your kids are talking to. You never know who they're going to be on the other side of it. I mean, William Taylor Gleans, Matthew Nicholas Menard. I mean, these guys are both the alleged monsters that you're
Yeah.
terrified of being on the other side of the iPad. How is it, like, on Instagram, that these two guys could actually get in touch with a 15-year-old? And how does that actually happen? Where, I mean, this isn't some dark web chat room where you would think that predators are lurking, but I mean, Instagram, everybody's got Instagram.
That's a good question, because most of these accounts are privated and stuff, and there's probably a lot of sharing of these usernames of these young women who maybe are more susceptible. um they're, there could be a lot of different ways, but once they, lock in, I'm sure they're not 100% truthful about their ages. Although, we do know from what authorities have said that Menard, told her he would be coming to Las Vegas on a business trip. And the other thing that's interesting about that is he told her that would be in late May, and then they would come to Los Angeles. So that would be about
Right.
now, right? So, and she's been gone a month. He told her to go there and lay low. So there's got to be somebody else. Either Menard gave her a bunch of money somehow to get a motel or whatever, or there's somebody else involved that she's laying low with.
Right, because eventually you're going to need to get cash, I assume, and an ATM's has cameras, and but whether it's a credit card or all the different ways. I mean, you can only cover it. It seems like for so long. Yeah, and kind of speaking to the point about understanding, at least in Menard's case, that he knew he was talking to a 15-year-old. This was from KSL TV. I just pulled this up.
Mhm.
Quote, they also discuss their future plans and how they can create a false scenario where Matt tells people that she is his daughter, which is sick.
Yeah,
In
unbelievable.
a lot of ways. I mean, in your experience, when this turns into, say he gets arrested and you have lines like that in a probable cause affidavit, I imagine that goes very
Oh,
far in a case in making sure that he is in custody for a long time.
yeah. And that's in writing. From what we've learned, those are DMs that they've sent. So he's going to have a hard time saying that that's not how I meant it. But I do, the thing that stands out to me is that she's been gone almost a month, I believe it is, and he told her to go lay low. A 15-year-old doesn't just go check herself into a hotel or motel for a month. So he must know somebody out there, or there must have been an arrangement.
Yeah.
Somebody is holding her, I would think, in the meantime, because he said he would not be in Vegas until late May or later in May. So
And you
we
wonder,
could
unless
see
he
more.
was a right, and unless he was a total loner, people in Miami would be wondering where he is, if he's run off with someone, or it seems like there's a lot, and you know better than I do. It just seems like there's a lot of things here that you would believe would be leading investigators at that point. Just finally, Steve, I mean, where does the investigation go from here? The charges are out. All these police departments in Utah and now Texas are looking. I'm sure authorities in Vegas have the lookout. I mean, is it kind of just a waiting game to
Well,
have that
I
moment
think
something
I think
flags up?
I think the FBI's, digital forensics team is going to probably be the one that's going to crack this. Just the fact that since his name has come out, he shut down. If it's the person we think, he shut down all of his business and social media profiles. He logged in somewhere, and even if that's through a VPN, I guarantee the FBI teams right now are dealing with LinkedIn and Instagram and the others, and seeing where those IP addresses came from. That where when he did shut the accounts down, uh, to give them a better starting point. But just the fact that he did that, he left a digital footprint.
Yeah, and you just hope now that this girl can be brought home to her family, and they've been very vocal, just wanting to have their daughter back, and you hope
Yeah.
everything ends safely, and then these two guys end up behind bars if what they're alleged to have done is in fact true. Steve Fisher, missing person private investigator. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
As the search for Petrov continues, I do want to show you the message that her parents have put out to their daughter on the website that they launched as a place that they hope people will go with tips if they know where she may be. They write, quote, Alisa, if you can see this, please know that we love you. We will always love you. We miss you. All of your friends and our friends are very worried too. We all want you to come back home. You will not get in trouble for running away. We are not mad at you. We absolutely love you regardless of what happened, and you are welcome home at any time. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to our content on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.